Why would we want to? I have no idea, other than sometimes I get an idea and I just have to see if it's possible. Hello, fiber friends. I had a weird idea. Do you ever have a weird idea and then you're like, I have to try this? Okay, are you familiar with Chainette yarn? It looks like this. And when you zoom in, it looks like this. There are some various yarns out there that people say, Evie, how would you spin this? And I say, you can't. That's made by machines, not hands, like hand spinning hands. So Chainette yarn is one of those, and then the other is like blown yarn. That's another kind of weirdo. And then I thought, but what if maybe hand spinners could make a Chainette yarn? Why would we want to? I have no idea, other than sometimes I get an idea and I just have to see if it's possible. I have this fiber from Hedgehog Fibers. It's beautiful. I got it at a local yarn store. I haven't spun it yet because I didn't want it to get muddy and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with it. So now I'm thinking that this is an excellent candidate for a hand spun Chainette yarn. So let's get spinning.
The type of draft that I'm using to spin this yarn is called point of contact. It's kind of a long draw, but it's not exactly a traditional long draw. What I'm doing is letting twist come between my drafting hand and my fiber supply hand. So rather than using my fingers to pinch out and pull fibers from the fiber supply, I'm letting the twist grab onto and pull out the fibers for me instead. It works great if I want a yarn that's slightly more lofty. Anytime I'm spinning comb top that is a very fine wool, I like to use point of contact. Otherwise, I feel like my yarn can just get very dense and heavy if I'm doing a true worsted pinchy type of drafting method, if that makes sense.
I saved this much because one, I was tired last night and I wanted to say I was done. The other reason I'm saving this piece is because it's a good visual of what this color on the original comb top looks like. So hopefully, if this Chainette yarn turns out, I'll have this piece that we can look at and kind of compare and see how the color played out after it was chainetted, because it's not a chain. It's not a chain ply, because that's a 3. This is a cable, but it's not a cable ply. What are we gonna call this? It's a chainette, I guess. Okay, so I've got everything on the bobbin here. And it is now the time to figure out how I'm gonna do this. I think I'll take that bobbin off of there and I'll put it on a lazy, strike that, hardworking Kate, and that way I can go sit on the couch and be somewhere more comfortable and I won't have to drag the whole wheel around with me. The other thing I'm gonna need to do is figure out how I'm gonna wrap it up as it's coming off the I-cord is gonna get longer and longer and longer. It's gonna be pretty long. So I'm gonna have to wrap that up somehow. And I guess I'll just probably wrap it up into a ball as I go. Maybe I'll grab a toilet paper tube or something to wrap it around. I don't know. Maybe an Ostapine. I'll figure that out as I get there, but let's start I-cording the chainette. We're just gonna make new verbs. That's just what we're gonna do. I-cording is a verb now. I also like the fact that since this is a tensioned lazy Kate, it's not gonna spin freely and make all kinds of snarls and pigtails while I'm going. If I yank on it, it's only gonna give me as much as I pull on it to get. So, let's begin.
An I-cord tool is 3 knitting machine hooks set into a base, and we're not actually doing anything different than we would with a knitting machine or a sock machine. The hooks have little latches below them. So we set our next row of stitches by bringing the yarn under the hooks, and we bring the previous loops up and over and down the back. Because those little latches go up to prevent the yarns from attaching to each other, it essentially holds the next row of stitches under the hooks while the last row, previous row, slides up and over. So it's a pretty nifty tool, and I'm having a lot of fun playing with this. I will tell you that there is a larger knitting type machine coming up in the future, and it's antique, and I hope you all maybe subscribe and look forward to some of whatever other shenanigans we might get up to. But for now, let's get back to I-cording this entire skein of handspun yarn.
I came down from the living room, and when I carried it, it fell off the I-cord tool, and I just realized I put it on there backwards, so I have to fix it. It is so windy out there, and I have some fleece drying on the porch, and I just keep expecting to look out the window and see it like all over the ground. It's okay so far. I'll get it later if it's not. I'm getting close to the end of this bobbin. I have a ball of I-cord, Chainette handspun, and I can finally see the core of the bobbin underneath the yarn. This has taken longer to I-cord than it took to spin. I've been working on this on and off for weeks now. Now granted, I did have some health issues in the middle of it, but also I took it to the hospital.
The whole story about what happened is on my Patreon. I didn't put it behind a paywall. If you're curious and you want to see what happened, you can go read it there. But the point is, the most important part, I'm doing so much better now, and I feel great, so.
It doesn't take a lot of concentration to do this. Really the only thing I have to pay attention to is that the levers on the hooks are open when they should be and closed when they shouldn't be, and that every stitch is on the right side of the lever, the correct side of where it needs to go. But it's not like thinking about stitch patterns. It doesn't even take as much concentration as just like standard stockinette in the round or single crochet or whatever. It's very mindless, which made it easy to do in the hospital while I didn't have a lot of energy to do things with a lot of thinking about what I was doing. And it's enough of a fidget that it also like satisfied that I need to be doing something with my hands urge that I get, that I live with, as some of us might relate to. And so that was good about this project. But then on the other side of that, when you're not needing something mindless, when you want something that's a little bit more mindful, in like it doesn't take all your concentration, but it could take your concentration. Does that make sense? I don't find this to be a very like soothing, mindful kind of repetitive thing. It's just a fidget, if that makes sense. I am having fun with it, but I mean, it's just gone on so long at this point, I'm feeling like it's a little tedious. I did take this with me to H&H, and if you want to hear my recap of H&H, that is the bonus video for patrons. I did get to see Dawn at H&H, and Dawn is the owner of Twice Sheared Sheep. I have an affiliate relationship with Twice Sheared Sheep, so it was great to see Dawn and thank her for the Advent box that I used for Vlogmas 2024. And I think I'm going to be getting another one for Vlogmas 2025. So I'll have a link to Twice Sheared Sheep. I don't think they're Vlogmas, or they're Vlogmas. I keep calling it that. I don't think their Advent boxes are up for sale yet, but they will be soon, so it depends on when you're watching this video. I think June is what they said. Anyway, this I-cord maker came in the box from last December. And so I got to say hi to Dawn and I got to show her my project.
And look who I ran into. It's Twice Sheared Sheep.
Okay, so we are going to pick up just one leg of the stitch in the middle of our knitting. Slide it to the other end of your needle. And we are going to apply an I-cord directly onto it.
Oh my gosh, this is like magical.
Okay, so we're going to cast onto our I-cord tool.
Cool. Got it started.
Got it started. Okay. And now we're going to put our yarn on the far side.
Oh my gosh, I get it. And then the next one.
So you can literally like draw onto it.
That is so cool.
And I had it out on the table, and you know, H&H is an industry show, and I was at the Creators Summit, and so people know what they're looking at, right? They were like, "Is that a bobbin of handspun that you're turning into an entire I-cord?" And I was like, "Yes, I am." And everyone was like, "How long is that taking you?" And I was like, "Longer than it took to spin it," because that's true. And I don't know, I guess it was obvious to everyone but me. I thought I'd have this done in a day or two. It's taking hours. So if you're gonna do this to your handspun yarn, be prepared for the investment of time. And I also think that if I wanted something that had like this very unique kind of texture to it, I might consider doing a cabled yarn instead of the I-cord. But there is a difference in that a cabled yarn is where you're taking strands going, you know, one way and then one way, and then you ply those together the other way, so it makes cool little crisscrossy. I'll put a picture. I'm not describing it very well. But the difference is that with this I-cord structure, it's a much more hollow yarn than in a cabled yarn, and a cabled yarn doesn't have a whole lot of stretch. I did an experiment for Ply Magazine for the alpaca issue, and one of the yarns that I did was cabled yarn using alpaca fiber, because alpaca is notorious for growing. And I discovered that a cable was a good way to stabilize alpaca yarn. However, from my experience with my experiments, I don't think that this would be stable enough to hold in the alpaca. If I did this with pure alpaca yarn, I'd have to have a lot of twist in it, and I think it would affect how it came out in the ball, but I do think it would kind of stretch and grow as alpaca tends to do. So I think that's interesting. This has more, because it's basically a trio of chains going up the length, it has a hollow center. And that gives it warmth, but that gives it some squish, and it has a lot of stretch as well. So it's a really intriguing yarn. But I don't think I would do it with certain fibers. Like, I don't think I would do it with alpaca, maybe not silk. I don't know. The things that don't have a lot of memory, I feel like wouldn't do as well. Like a silk blend or alpaca blend would be fine, but I think the thing that really makes this like you want the fiber to enhance the structure of the yarn, and I think the thing that really enhances this is the bounce of the wool. But that said, I don't know. I could be wrong. I think there should be experiments. I think if you have an I-cord maker, go out there and see what can be done. And try all the things, because that's how we figure stuff out. And I would love to hear anybody's experience if you try it out. So I am gonna go, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I put a survey on Instagram to see which anime I should watch next, and I devoured the Apothecary Diaries. And I'm sad because there's no more episodes. So I think the next one I'm gonna watch is Frenrin. I can't pronounce it. I hope I got it right. I started that one and it's adorable and I love it. So I have more things to watch. I don't know which one I like better. I'll have to finish Frenrin and then see. But I like them both for their own individualness, their own uniqueness, if you will. So it's almost done. And then I'll have to figure out what project I want to put this in. Like, am I gonna knit with this? Like some oversized needles? Am I gonna put it in some weaving, crochet? I don't know. What do you like to do with actual like chainette yarn? I think of it as something that should be squishy and bouncy and lofty. That's what I think it's really good at, because it has that air trapped in that hollow core of it, and that trapped air is insulating. Maybe a hat. I don't know. What would you do? Let me know. And I'll be right back and we'll see what I decide. See you in the future. I'm back with results. I decided to crochet a hat. Here it is. The pattern called for a bulky, chunky yarn, which this is definitely a bulky, chunky yarn. I used a size N crochet hook, and I think it came out great. The hat pattern was called Snap Hat, I think. I will put a link to it in the video description if you're interested. It was just a free hat crochet pattern that I found. And in the pattern it had a cute little button on the side of it, but I remembered I had this little felted flower brooch. There it is, and it's adorable. I did try to style my outfit for this hat. I'm wearing this like gray shirt because there's so much color going on in here, but there's kind of a neutral gray that runs throughout, so I don't know. It's also pretty tight on my head because I was worried about not having enough yarn. This really sucked up all the yardage, like by a lot. So if you do this project, if you try this, go for more yardage than you ever think. This was 4 ounces of fiber, and I barely got one hat out of it. So let's see. Oh, I left a stitch marker in there. That's never happened to me before. Is it cute? I think it's kind of cute. My hair's still a little damp, but that's okay. It's all curly and stuff too, but I think it's kind of cute. Get my bangs out of my eyes. Should I turn around? Give you the full look? I like it. It's so squishy. It's very comfy. I love this little felted flower. Okay, so I've been saying, like, you know, can I turn it up? Yeah, I can kind of turn up the brim a little bit. Covers the top of my ears still. I've been saying, like, ooh, why are we doing this? This is so much work. This is ridiculous work. But, you know, now that I see the final outcome of the project, I do think it's worth it. Like, if I had truly had a vision for this from the start, I probably would have gone into it more enthusiastically. But as it was, I sort of was doing a, can this be done? And following it. I mean, I guess it's about the journey either way, right? But I do like the outcome. So tell me what you think. Would you ever try and I-cord an entire skein of handspun yarn? I would love to hear about it. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Making the entire single into a chain, like an I-cord, not like a chain, like a chain ply. Woo, let's try that again.